This is Chicken Philosophy, the Divine Pymander, Part 7, in which we will continue reading the Divine Pymander of Hermes Trismegistus. But first, just a little bit of water, for there's water and fire. That's the water and fire thing. In the form of, I introduced my beverage today. It's iced chamomile. Cheers. Tastes like iced chamomile, no sugar. And for the incense today, we've got Satya brand patchouli. Just that. I hope everybody's doing well. It's a bit early here today. It's Monday. Let's see, Friday was Friday the 13th, so it's Monday the 16th of February. Happy Shiva Ratri to those who celebrate. That's nice, that's nice. So yeah, okay. We read the introduction, and that went on for too long. And then we read the actual Pymander, the first chapter or whatever, and it was like the one where, Hermes is talking to Pymander, and Pymander at first is like cool, and then he starts to sound like St. Paul or something. But then there's the holy art thou, which nature has not formed, and it's like, hey, is this where that comes from? But then if you ask your Arabic friend, then they'll say, oh no, passages like that exist in thousands of texts. The Pymander's just one of them. Like the book M, the Picatrix, eh? And then they'll say, always with the Picatrix, you frickin' white people with your Picatrix. There's thousands of other documents. That's not even the most interesting of its kind, but because you think that the book M has the Picatrix because someone theorized that, now everybody wants a translation of the Picatrix. There's plenty of other... Never mind. Oh, I'm just a beginner and all that. I'm just reading Meccan Revelations, but later we'll read Fusus al-Hikam. But for now we're reading the Pymander. The computer's making a lot of noise, the fan and all that. And I suspect that it's going to be annoying. So I'm going to move the computer to the floor so that it doesn't vibrate the wooden table. And we'll see if there's less noise pollution. So let's turn off the music. Okay, hear that? And now hear this. Is it better? It's this computer. It was that computer. But all right. I think it's all much better now. I'm trying to get my what is it from Austin Powers? My something back. Trying to get my mojo back. Maybe or some other thing. This fucking guy. There was this lady that was binge watching Carl Jung and commenting, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I keep seeing, and it's like, wow, this whoever this is literally just every waking hour continuously watching, because there'll be an episode that's 34 minutes, and that episode was played, and then 34 minutes later the next episode was played, all the way up to the most recent one, 97. And then it turned out it was some other guy who posted this long, essay about what a piece of shit I was and how much he kisses Carl Jung's ass. And so I blocked him, of course, because, Jesus Christ, what? So some Carl Jung nerd, hate watched all 90, 60 hours of my Carl Jung videos just to conclude that I was completely fucked up and worthless, and I was an example of what happens when you don't heed all of Carl Jung's warnings. Well, I've got news for you. This is where I started reading Carl Jung, and so far the only warnings I've found is don't be trans and don't be a white guy who likes Chinese things too much. And other than that, he's just been losing his mind, and so his losing of his mind has inspired me to embrace my losings of mind and express it in an artistic way. And but he doesn't like it at all. He calls it a pathetic display. I'm like, fuck you, dude, so okay, there's a little button that us content creators can push that says hide user, which means they'll see their own comments, they'll think they're saying stuff, but nobody else can read them. So that's how I roll. Not everybody's into that. They're like, free speech. Yeah, well, that's like the government can't. That's not with platforms and like, come into my house and talk some shit, I can kick you out of my house. You can't say free speech. It's like not a complete universal solvent to every situation where someone doesn't want you to be yammering on about what you're yammering on about. You know what I mean? Anyway, so yeah, I think he's not watching anything other than Carl Jung though, so I don't know. I don't think he's hearing what I'm saying right now. If he is, cheers. I wish you all the best. I don't wish you ill. You did succeed in fucking up my mood for like a few hours, and then like the residual damage to my mood has lasted 2 days so far. So, well done there, he says sarcastically. Anyway, but I'll do my best, and from my end, that comes in the form of just continuing to let the chicken wheel turn and continuing to read what is on the schedule to read. But I notice that my mind frame is different. And then that, like, because I was addicted to, caffeine and nicotine for so many years and then just quit it last week, then it's like hard to tell where, like, the influence of the heckler and there's like a calmness where there used to be kind of a, now there's a, but then there's like a block, And, from the very beginning, I've been talking about that I'm doing this for myself. And I don't know, I feel like part of me wants to try to explain, like, this isn't a costume, like, this is actually, like, never mind. But I'm not going to wear it all the time. So, like, when I'm not in my magical persona in front of the temple, or I used to be at the head of the temple, like, teaching classes. I wasn't the top guy, but I was the number 3 in an international cult for like decades. And so then I got out of there, and then I've been trying to cult deprogram, and deal with that in my own various ways on my own. And, going to the other side of the planet, making weird YouTube channels, and reading things that were always just a bit too boring for me to read, like things that I wasn't ever interested in enough to sit down and read them. Like, I decided, wouldn't it be weird if I read it on this channel? So anyway, there's probably more thoughts, but I'll just let them be. Just wanted to let you know kind of where I'm at today, and hopefully it'll pass by the end of this quinary of the new cycle. I wonder what the cycle's name will be. All right, so we got our ice chamomile, we got our patchouli, we got our Pymander, we got our ruler, new wand. When I need to point at things. Editor Edward, before I forget, Delta. Uppercase looks like this. Lowercase looks like this. Is the 4th letter of the Greek alphabet. In the system of Greek numerals, it has a value of 4. It was derived from the Phoenician letter Dalet, which is also the origin of the Hebrew letter Dalet. Letters that come from delta include the Latin D, that one, and the Cyrillic, whatever that is. A river delta, originally the delta of the Nile River, is so named because its shape approximates the triangle the triangular uppercase letter delta. Contrary to popular legend, this use of the word delta was not coined by Herodotus. Thank you, Wikipedia. Thank you, Editor Edward. We forgot to do that last time. We're going to try to do that for every episode of the Pymander until we finish the Greek alphabet. And then hopefully we'll be able to sound out the words in the footnotes. Because sometimes there'll be a word, and then the translator will want to let us know what the word was that he translated into that word, and there'll be a Greek word in like lowercase cursive or whatever, and I'll have to kind of go, what? And like I can barely recognize like half of the capital letter Greek, but the lowercase I'm just like, what is this? This is nutty. Okay, so I guess we'll jump right in. I've been skipping most of the footnotes. It's all kind of basic stuff. But if there's something that is like completely baffling or interesting and there's a footnote, then maybe we'll read the footnote. But otherwise, that's kind of my policy, skipping footnotes. You can always pick up this book and read it on your own if you want to read things without my commentary or personality or psychological issues. Fucking people who kiss Jung's ass. You know, like, I talk a lot of shit about Jesus, Mohammed, and, like, everybody's like, yeah, well, yeah, you have a point there. And then I, like, talk shit about Carl Jung, and it's, how could you? Carl Jung is the ultimate authority of truth, and what would he say about you? I don't care. I say a lot of things about him because he's goofy. Anyway. 31. Holy the God, the Father of the universals, whose counsel, I guess the thing I was going to say is like, yeah, when you're not at the temple and then you have to go outside and be a regular guy out on the street, like, oh, hi, could you turn on pump number 4? Pump number 4, I gave you the cash, but pump number 4, it says it's not working. Like, so that's Edward, you know, the guy who's not wearing this, who's out in the world and trying to like deal awkwardly with everything. But then the guy, when Edward is with his buddies and has a few drinks and puts his hat on, that's Gwydion. So it is one guy, right? But it's different aspects of one guy, and then the play acting part of it is to act like it's 3 people and have them have a conversation between each other. That guy, he really didn't like that fucking guy. Anyway, I'll try not to be hung up. All right, let's read this holy stuff. Holy the God, the Father of the universals, whose counsel is, see, I gotta like stop caring. Stop caring. Okay, this isn't for anyone. This isn't for you. With respect, you know, love to you, whoever you may be. But I just have to reel it back, all the way back to, this is a project I'm doing for myself. Originally it was nice because like there'd be like 4 views and 3 of them were me, and like maybe just someone accidentally would stumble upon it. Like in the very early days, the first like month of Chicken Philosophy, it was completely just a self, you know, like a audio diary that I just happened to be making available for the public because that would be funny if people watched it. But I want to get back to that personalness of it and not be constantly thinking, oh, don't talk about that so much. No, people aren't going to like that. Oh, you've gone on about that too much. Oh, focus on this. People tune in for this. Don't care. No, I do care. That's the problem. Stop caring. Stop caring. Put caring in the fire. Caring goes in the fire. All right. I think we're good. I just wanted to finish that thought because I realized that I hadn't finished the thought. I had started the thought and then just left it hanging. So, continuing with the reading. All right, starting over with the reading. Holy the God, the Father of the universals, whose counsel is perfected by his own powers. Holy the God, who willeth to be known and is known by his own. Holy thou art, who by word hast constituted the entities. Holy, thou art holy. Is this really? No, I didn't move the sticky. I'm rereading stuff that I read last time. Oh my God, you gotta move the sticky, BT. I mean, Edward. I mean, whoever was there last time. I mean, unless he just every once in a while does this holy thy God thing. Yeah, no, this is not... I need to find out where I was. Give me a moment. Good, for they are body and soul, having no place, able to receive the good. Okay. So that was the end of verse 14 of chapter 2. So we're on verse 15 of chapter 2. Okay, we're gonna try to get into the flow here. All right. 15. For the magnitude of the good is so great as is the subsistence of all the entities, both bodies and without bodies, and sensible and intelligible. This is the good, this the God. Thou shouldst not call anything else good, since thou wouldest be impious, nor anything else ever the God, since thou wouldst again be impious. Oh, we don't want to be impious now, do we? 16. In speech, then, indeed, the good is spoken of by all, but whatever it is not understood by all, wherefore neither is the God understood by all, but through ignorance they call the gods, and some of the men good, they call the gods, and some of the men good. But God alone is good. Okay. Go on. What? By no means able either to be or to become such, for they are very different from the God. For the good is inseparable from the God himself being the good. All the other gods, then, are called immortals, being honored with the appellation of gods, but the God is the good not by honor, but by nature. For one is the nature of the God, the good, and one the kind of both these, from which are all the kinds. I'm open to the possibility that I will eventually like this and enjoy reading it. I am. Michel Chodkowitz's commentary on Meccan Revelations was like irritating to read, but now I fully enjoy it. So I'm approaching this. It's irritating as of now. It's inane and stupid, but maybe eventually I'll be like, oh, okay. If I get into this certain headspace, this makes sense and is enjoyable to read. I just haven't found that headspace yet. I don't think I ever found it. That's the thing. That's why I never read this. Because I would pick it up and read like one line and be like, yeah, I'll read that later. But later has come. This is later. Later became now. And here we are. 17. But another appellation is that of the Father. Again, because the Maker, someone was saying, isn't there more than one Father? Yeah, I mean in reality, but in the paradigms of these kinds of folks, I mean, there's no room for the Abraham head because we've got Delta over there, so I'll just keep reading. Again, because the Maker of all things, for it is of a Father to make. Wherefore also in life the greatest and most religious anxiety of the prudent is the generation of children. Okay. And the greatest misfortune and irreligion is that any one should depart childless from among men. This was back in the go forth and multiply phase of the human species, human race. Yeah, it's a humanity's a race. Before we reached a saturation point where this no longer makes any sense. Editor Edward, when was this written? It says here, most likely around the 2nd or 3rd century Common Era. Do we have any music from the earlier of those estimations? Something like this. Okay. And this man renders justice after death to the demon, and the punishment is this, that the soul of the childless should be condemned. Oh, well, fuck you then, you know, like, I'm childless, I'm planning to die childless, and so I'm reading some stupid why am I I don't know. It was just sort of a bumbling accident that I ended up in the Golden Dawn to begin with, you know. It was like, what's the coolest thing I could do? Wicca. Oh, well, you know, Wicca was, partially created, or it was derived by teachings from the Golden Dawn. You know, Gardner took this and that, Gardner and Crowley, but they came from Golden Dawn. And before your dad died, he said, stay away from Crowley, but Golden Dawn's okay. Well, okay, I'll do Golden Dawn. And they're like, yeah, it's the Hermetic, that's a funny word. You mean like a jar? And then now here I am reading this stupid shit 30 years later. Just to process through whatever it was that I did back then. I don't know. I'll just add music to it and move on to the I Ching. That's on the next pedal. Let's keep reading. Fuck. Alright, what are we doing? Stupid shit. And this man renders justice after death to the demon, and the punishment is that the soul of the childless should be condemned to a body having the nature neither of man nor of woman, which is accursed under the sun. Wherefore, O Asclepius, be mutually pleased with no one being childless, but on the contrary, pity the misfortune, knowing what punishment awaits him. So many and such things be said to thee, O Asclepius, a precognition somewhat of the nature of all things. This is even stupider than Carl Jung. I have to go on record. Oh, that was the end of chapter 2. I kind of don't want to read anymore, but I have a feeling this episode would be very short if I bail out. Now, that happened last time. With the Nag Hammadi, it just got to the point where it was like, I can't read anymore. It's too stupid. That might happen today, but no, new chapter. All right. So the point of chapter 2 was the sun goes round the earth, and and he who does not have children during his lifetime will be punished by being androgynous, which is evil. Like, okay. El Stupido is how they would say it in Spanish. This thing that many of you subscribed because you were like, oh, someone's reading this. Oh, good. The person reading it is openly and repeatedly proclaiming that it's stupid because it is. Chapter 3, Sacred Discourse. Good. 1. Glory of all things, this thing that I was named after, right? Glory of all things, the God and divinity and nature divine. Beginning of the entities, the God and mind and nature and matter, being wisdom for the manifestation of everything. Beginning is the divinity, and nature and energy and necessity and end and renovation. For there was darkness without limit in abyss, and water and spirit, subtle, intelligent, with divine power, being in chaos. Then issued forth holy light. This sounds like Zimzum. And there were collected under an arena elements from moist essence, and all gods distribute of seminal nature. 2. And all things being indiscriminate and orderless, the light were separated off upwards, and the heavy were made a foundation under a moist arena, the whole being divided apart by fire, and suspended up to be carried onward by spirit. Now here we've got more footnotes than text, and I'm not reading them because I don't care what the Fundy translator has to say about what we're reading. I'm I don't have the patience for it. 3. But each god by his proper power set forward that ordained to him, and these became beasts, quadrupeds, and reptiles, and aquatics, and winged, and every fruitful seed, and grass, and green herb of every flower. This is kind of like mellow. Let's like forget about the bullshit at the end of the last chapter, and like let's change the music up. Let's change the vibe. All right. Yeah, cool. Hey guys, we're gonna read some more of this cool book. It's really good. It's called The Divine Pymander. I was named after it. Let's keep going. Okay. Jesus Christ. Yeah. And grass and green herb of every flower, having the seed of the reproduction in themselves. And the heaven appeared in 7 circles, and gods in their stellar forms, being visible with all their signs, and the constellations were severally enumerated with the gods in them. And the circumference was wrapped around with airborne onward in a circular course by divine spirit. And they sowed also the generations of the men, for knowledge of divine works, and energizing testimony of nature and multitude of men, for the dominion of all things that are under heaven, and the cognition of good things, for to be increased in increase, and to be multiplied in multitude, and every soul in flesh through course of encircling gods, for contemplation of heaven, and course of the heavenly gods, and divine works, and energy of nature, and for signs of good things, for knowledge of divine power, to know parts of good and evil things, and to discover workmanship of all good things. 4. Their living and becoming wise beginneth according to portion or degree, of course of encircling gods, and to be resolved into that. And there shall be great memorials of artificial works upon the earth, leaving behind in renewal the wasting of times. Speaking of wasting time, and every generation of animated flesh, and of the fruit of seed, and of all art energy, those which are diminished shall be renewed by necessity, and by renewal of gods, and by course of periodical circle of nature. For divine is the whole cosmical composition renovated by nature. For in the divine has nature also been constituted. That seems like something that I might want to go, in the divine nature has been constituted. That's interesting. But it's just not happening. I feel like that, like there's a fuse, a bulb burned out that would have gone, oh, like a younger me would have been like, even in nature, as above, so below. Nature is down here. You want to know how the divine works? Just look outside. Just look at it. Look at it. Stop looking at your screen and look outside. But as above, so below, as below, so above. That means that there are smartphones in heaven, if you think about it. See, I would have said some dumb shit like that back then, but now I'm just like, why are we reading this? Why? Every once in a while, here on Chicken Philosophy, we read things that seem like a good idea at first. And then, like, there were times when with reading Martin Luther kind of like hit a rock bottom where I was like, fuck, I have to read this stupid shit again today. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, guys, that I chose this as one of the books we're going to read. But then a few people were like, no, we like watching you suffer. Keep going. And I'm like, oh, well, in that case, I'll keep going, And then hopefully the people that are like, this is my religion, will fuck off because, they're not going to enjoy someone reading Martin Luther or Divine Pymander, depending on their religion. And you know what I'm talking about. No, maybe not. That's okay. All right. So, we keep going no matter what. So in, you know, good times and bad times, it's like a marriage, you know, like in sickness and in health. And so so we'll get through this, you know, and we'll come out the other side, and, you know, hopefully renewed and even better, and maybe the Pymander will stop being so lame, or maybe my perspective will shift to the degree that I can read it without just being like, why is this on the chicken wheel? You know, like, you know, but it is what it is. And so I hope that you enjoyed your experience of what, because apparently if you're hearing my voice, if you're seeing my face right now, you did watch this whole thing. Hopefully the music made it worth it. And, you know, Delta, right? Anybody have any good horror stories about flying Delta? Are they still around? We don't really have that over here in India. The last thing I remember was people protesting because Delta was transporting monkeys to be tested on or something, or animals in general. That was a long time ago, though. I think it was 2014, 2015. One of those. 14, I think. 12 years ago. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I guess that's it. Next time we're going to be back to Tipitaka over on the Buddhist Books podcast. It'll be Buddhist Books 313, and then when we come back to Chicken Philosophy, probably the day after tomorrow or sometime in the near future, it'll be Edward doing I Ching, and I think he's going to be doing the last of the 8 trigrams. And then what? I don't know. We'll let him decide later at that time. So, all right. If you befriend, if you are a good vibe person in general, then I wish you all the good vibes and happiness and prosperity and peace and joy and serenity. May your cup runneth over. If you're hate watching, I don't. Until next time.